Hello, Ardith. Do you remember this picture of you when you graduated from Ravenswood Hospital? I keep it right above my computer where I can see it every day, right along with my other loving plaques which I received from you and our daughters. I'm putting this letter on YouTube so that you and other people can listen and learn from it. I'm going to speak rapidly because I have a lot of vital information to cover within this limited time. I'm sure you remember my speaking of Mrs. Budek. I recently realized that she actually was my guardian angel, and I only became aware of this after hearing Pope Benedict refer to his guardian angel. Everything she ever said fell into the category of helping, guiding, encouraging, cautioning, and protecting me. That's what guardian angels do. Her accurate predictions actually came more as an after product of her guidance, and she always seemed to know exactly when to come over for over 20 years. She had no personal vested interest, and she said if she took 1 penny for what she was doing, she'd lose her gift. I believe she saved my life in one instance when she cautioned me about entering an alley with the garage on either side or I'd be struck by a car. As I approached an alley a few days later, which fit her description, I cautiously slowed down and ran into the running board of an automobile traveling so fast that it seemed to come out of nowhere. I could have easily been killed. And here's a Google picture of the alley. My sister lived in the second white house from the corner. In another instance, she said we'd have a holdup in our grocery store by 2 men wearing Russian fur hats, and not to make any sudden moves when they came over because they are very dangerous and that they mean business. True to form, 2 men with Russian fur hats came into our store, robbed us at gunpoint, and as they were leaving, one of them placed a bullet in the palm of his hand and said, "I just want to show you that we mean business." The very same words Mrs. Budek used. She said I'd be advised by a man in a white uniform to leave the school I was attending to become an optometrist, that I should listen to him, and that I would do much better by changing schools and become, in her words, very famous. It happened exactly as she said. I changed schools, became a chiropractor, won a major landmark antitrust lawsuit against the American Medical Association, became well known all over the world within the chiropractic profession. She said I'd gradually expand my message beyond chiropractic and that it would make me more famous and also make me a better Christian. It's happening now. I was told 70 years ago by her that I'd be writing books, which was the farthest thing from my mind. I've written 7 books, and I have experienced miraculous events and divine intervention over the years. For example, she said that you, Ardith, would leave me and my daughters would all turn against me. She predicted this 20 years before it happened. I recall hearing it from my mother and sister of it happening, but I disregarded it. But it happened. After I got married to you, Ardith, Mrs. Budek kept visiting my mother. Our daughter, Kathy, liked my naturopathic diploma, which I never hung up on the wall since my chiropractic diploma covered my work. She liked it, so I gave it to her. When Kathy turned against me, she gave my diploma to a house sale in Chicago, which was a contemptuous thing to do. This diploma helped pay for Kathy's home furnishings, and I plan on giving Kathy a summer home and buy out her sister's portion. But God intervened. The man purchasing my diploma recognized my name, called me, and asked me if it was accidentally thrown away. I told him what happened, and he was kind enough to return my diploma. The odds of this happening was less than 1 chance in 1,000. But his name was John, the same as Kathy's husband, which increased the odds 100-fold. And then, on top of all this John's mother's maiden name was Wilk, the same as Kathy's maiden name. No relation since she was Jewish. Do you realize the odds of all this happening, Ardith? There were only 2 Wilks in the entire Chicago telephone directory when I checked it. This took divine intervention, and it doesn't stop here. There's more. A chiropractor named Dr. Gay, living within 1 mile from you, Ardith, in Encinitas, California, invited me to speak to his chiropractic organization. The odds of anyone inviting me to speak, to address an audience within 1 mile of you, is 1 chance in 3.8 million based on the square miles in the United States. and his last name was Dr. Gay, same spelling, G-A-Y, the same last name as your former church minister, Dr. Gay, who counseled you and me at South Park Church. I'm sure you remember. Do you realize the odds of this happening? This took impossible odds, but it happened. This was divine intervention. You can't make up stuff like this, Ardith, and be able to document it with a church and multiple witnesses as well. See page 109 and 110 regarding these two miracles. I took and passed a polygraph test stating that every word in my book is 100% accurate, because who's going to believe it? It defies all logic and common sense, but it happened. And my nephew, Walter, witnessed these miracles firsthand, and we both will take any other polygraph test from any reliable party. Polygraph tests are virtually foolproof, especially with two of us passing them. They're highly regarded and used by the CIA, FBI, and police departments, and has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. People will have to take me seriously because my facts are very compelling and deserve serious notice. Now here is a picture of the polygraph. And between the arrows it says that I speak the truth. First of all, Ardith, do you realize from what has happened that I can challenge any atheist to a debate and I can thoroughly disprove them? I'll clean their clock. It'll be no contest. And it's not because I'm that good, because I'm not, but because my facts are that good. I've been given a very special gift from God. And all of you squeamish Christians out there better take serious notice, because I am attacking the devil as a liar, divider, and destroyer. And Christ said the devil could never attack himself and survive. So much for that. And second, if you ask any minister or priest, they will all verify that the devil can get into people and influence their thinking. It's a well-established fact. And so why, pray tell, are people reluctant to refer to and blame the devil? I'll tell you why. It's because people are programmed into believing he doesn't exist and are afraid of bringing up the devil so not to become stigmatized as a religious nut. I believe that the devil can undermine our politicians, healthcare system, churches, courts, and families. And as a matter of fact, this is the title of my book, which is The Devil's Intervention into Healthcare, Politics, Churches, Courts, and Families. And by the way, this is not a religious book, and I'm no expert on the Bible. This being said, I believe the devil is controlling President Obama. For example, he swapped a deadbeat military deserter, Bergdahl, for 5 top-ranking terrorists who will return to kill Americans. Donald Trump calls it stupidity, but I say that this transcends stupidity and that Obama sold out to the devil. Nobody can possibly be that stupid. Come on. This is so perverted and warped that it has to be the devil's influence. Meanwhile, Obama made no visible effort to release Marine Sergeant Tamarisi from a Mexican jail for 212 days, who accidentally made a wrong turn, end up in Mexico. Yet he swaps 5 dangerous terrorists for 1 deadbeat military deserter. Does that make any sense? Of course not. I have a video on YouTube entitled The Devil is Influencing President Obama, which gives 38 examples why I believe the devil is influencing our president. 38 negative examples are just too many to be discounted as coincidental. And you'll see on this on this video where Senator Harry Reid is a self-admitted, bold-faced liar, openly admitted that he lied, while Reverend Al Sharpton extorts money from companies by telling them if they don't give him money, he'll accuse them of being racist. Al Capone ended up in Alcatraz for owing the IRS $215,080 in income taxes for selling alcohol, while Al Sharpton owes the government, the IRS, $4.5 million in past taxes by using extortion techniques, and gets to sit at the table with President Obama in the White House. That certainly tells you something very wrong about our president and the Democratic Party, doesn't it? I believe Donald Trump will run for president, and after what he has been doing and saying on television, I'd be very surprised if he didn't run. Type into your search engine Donald Trump at Liberty University or Donald Trump at National Press Club or Donald Trump at Fox News and listen to some of his recorded interviews. He makes a lot of sense and tells it like it is. Do yourself a favor and listen. You owe it to yourself, really. He can apply his brilliant business skills to the way America should run its business with other countries instead of giving everything away to the other countries, including the kitchen sink. And he can replace Obamacare with a sensible and superior health care plan and not one which is self-destructive. And he'll build a fence on our entire southern border. He builds spectacular buildings, so building a fence would be like a piece of cake for him, and do it for the price as well. He'd bring more manufacturing back to America instead of driving companies overseas and raising our taxes, as Obama is doing. And everyone will benefit, including the 47% of our citizens to which Obama referred. Trump is a committed Protestant Presbyterian, and he said he'd never do anything against the wishes of God. And he'll be the best Christian representative our nation has had for many years. He may very well be God sent and could become our next president. And third, as a nation, we overutilize drugs and surgery, and it's been my mission to create more public awareness to this abusive overutilization of medications. We need to focus on more conservative treatments on health care. For example, dick surgery in some states is 50 times higher per capita than in England. This is scandalous, inexcusable, and must be corrected. The unholy alliance between the medical doctors and the pharmaceutical industry actually kills 3,000 people every week and causes an additional 300 deaths every week from unnecessary surgery. This is a modern-day medical surgical holocaust. The medical doctors went on labor union strike in California at one time and only conducted necessary surgeries, and the death rate dropped by 153 patients within 1 month, according to the Los Angeles County records. Medical doctors are the third biggest cause of death in America after heart disease and cancer. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of the cancers are caused by medications. Pharma spends $1.5 billion, that's B like in billion, promoting people to take pills. If taking all these pills is so good for you, then why do they have to spend $1.5 billion a month promoting them? It's all about making money, but that's not in the public's best interest. In the center of this outrageous medical surgical holocaust, the American Medical Association was trying to destroy chiropractic as a drugless profession. I was so outraged by it that I called the American Medical Association the American Murderers Association. But I eventually learned it was a devil who got into key individuals within the AMA who were causing these problems. We need to reduce these abusive overutilizations and focus on more natural, drugless ways to enhance the quality of our health care and improve the integrity of our neuromusculoskeletal system with chiropractic adjustments and massage therapy instead of bombarding our bodies with chemicals and unnecessary surgery and destroying ourselves. It started with you and me, Ardith, but do you realize that it has extended into something much larger than the two of us? This is big. And fourth, my experience has proven to me that there is life after death, and I provide absolute proof of it. See page 96 in my book regarding Dr. Hoff. And I learned that the devil also gets into ministers. When Reverend Eric Flood from South Park Church told me he actually complimented you, Ardith, for leaving me and refused to tell you to receive marriage counseling. That's an unbelievable coming from a minister. Reverend Flood was given my book, so he cannot claim he was so grossly ignorant of the facts. And the secretary there said, "Don't send me any emails, Dr. Will, because I won't open them." Why? Because I was trying to save our marriage of 44 years? Is that so terrible? Satan is firmly entrenched in South Park Church, Park Ridge, Illinois. Every member in that church is in serious jeopardy. As for your North Coast Presbyterian Church in Encinitas, California, it's no better, as they never answered my letters or phone calls. Our churches are supposed to unite, not divide families. And fifth, there's no significant racial prejudice in America. You know, our white society re-elected Obama as president for 2 terms, for heaven's sakes. And one of the most revered candidates for president in the Republican Party today is Dr. Ben Carson, who's more black than President Obama. But there is a justifiable fear because of the social breakdown in black communities, making them more vulnerable to the devil. But that's not prejudice. We're being conned by the con artists, race baiters, and hucksters like Stockton and Jackson into creating a lie about prejudice. By the way, the Republicans were the abolitionists who pushed through the 1964 Civil Rights Act while the Democrats filibustered against it. So why doesn't Stockton and Jackson support the Republicans? The more special privilege and concessions are made to the black people, the less they appreciate them, and the more demanding and less respectful they have become. And the biggest troublemakers is our president. The black people have never had it better in the history of the world. The devil manipulates the black people like a Stradivarius violin, and President Obama is the orchestra leader, and the white folks dance to the music like a bunch of puppets. And the devil is having one hell of a great time. And 6, my heart goes out to our poor cops. If any cop is attacked and has to shoot a black person, regardless how guilty the black person may be, the cop faces national negative notoriety, personal threats, indictments, possibly losing his job. That's the devil's intervention. Can you imagine our nation without law enforcement? And the devil damn well knows it too, and oh boy does he know it. It would be chaotic. And that's why the devil is doing everything he can to condemn, undermine, and discourage our cops. If you see a cop on the street, give him a great big handshake. Tell him how much you appreciate him. They deserve a loving hug. They are national heroes. Black lives matter to the blacks, but only if shot by a cop apprehending a black criminal. Give me a break. They refuse to see the obvious fact that 99% of the blacks are killed by other blacks. They can't be more hypocritical than that, but that's the devil's modus operandi. You see, the devil is a hypocrite. Of course, cops aren't perfect. The only perfect person was crucified 2,000 years ago. Profiling is a proven way of fighting crime, but now it's become politically improper. This is good for the thugs, the criminals, and the deadbeats, but not for the law-abiding citizens. And on a personal level, regarding you, Ardith, and our 3 daughters, the more we did for our 3 daughters, the more demanding they became toward us, and the less they appreciated, and the more disrespectful they became toward us. My only granddaughter lives 2 blocks away, and I haven't seen her for over 7 years. She would ask, how come Grandpa doesn't come over? Doesn't he love me anymore? This is heart-wrenching. Do you see a pattern here with our daughters and the racial issue, Ardith? That's the way the devil works. He's a liar, divider, destroyer, and a hypocrite. I'll never forget the time Kim passionately pleaded with me, saying, please, Dad, you've got to be better with Mom. I'm worried about you. You're going to be all alone by yourself in your old age. You lost Cindy. You're about to lose Kathy. And if you don't change your ways, you're going to lose me. I asked Kim, what am I doing wrong? Kim said, I was controlling you. But how can I be controlling? As you know, Ardith, there were no restaurants. There were no restraints on you whatsoever. You had your own car. You could go wherever and whenever you wanted. You could fly out to Denver or California whenever you wish to see the girls. Not once have I ever complained about you spending money on yourself, and you can verify that. And we ate out almost every day in restaurants of your choice. So you didn't even have to cook dinner most of the time. I enjoyed eating out with you as quality time. I used to squeeze fresh orange juice for you every morning without fail for years because you liked fresh squeezed grapefruit juice. But you didn't like it when the telephone rang, when a patient called while we ate dinner, and I answered the phone. And so we ate out, so you couldn't hear the phone ring. Let me ask you a question, Ardith. Since you saw yourself as the only Christian in our home, do you think Christ would ignore a telephone call from someone asking him for help? You tell me. I know I couldn't. All that Kim could come up with was that I put hot water in your restaurant coffee to cut down on caffeine, which was silly. It was a loving and caring act, which we mutually agreed to do. Yet Kim absolutely insisted this was controlling. When I asked Kim to come up with any other reason why I treated you badly, she could not give me one reason. And about a week later, Kim says, don't you ever call me again because I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. I haven't heard from Kim in 7 years. That's pathological. This is the devil's intervention in Kim. The devil really got a foothold on Cindy as well and influenced you and her sisters. As you know, she had all kinds of problems. I even had to take her to a hospital to remove a spoon from Cindy's throat one time because of her bulimia. And you remember when Cindy kept repeating at home, I foiled him, I foiled him. We asked her, who'd you foil, Cindy? She said, I foiled the devil. He wanted me to do it, but I foiled him. This was a forewarning of things to come, Ardith. I have never heard such evil hatred come out of anyone's mouth as when Cindy told me it was all over between you and me. She can never be a happy person, consumed with such evil and senseless hatred. She needs serious help. Perhaps we, with the help of God, can make her see the light. Ardith, go to page 61 through 63 in my book and see the plaques you have all made for me. The plaques say I was the greatest husband and father in the entire world. I have them hanging in my walls at home. I love them because that was the way you all were. I also have 24 chiropractic professional awards at home, but every single one of your awards mean more to me than all the other 24 chiropractic awards combined. That's how much they mean to me. I put copies of your plaques into my book so everybody could see and read them. Yet nothing bad happened between the time I received these plaques and you all turned against me. This is the devil's work, and he waited for the right time to strike. There's no reluctance to blame the devil, so we blame each other. The Jews didn't believe in the devil, while 40% of the Christians polled in the Barna study believe that the devil is only a symbol of evil and not a person. Christ made it crystal clear that there is a devil, and so by people insisting that the devil is only a symbol of evil, these Christians are saying in effect that Christ is either a liar or a fool. Our pastors need to stop patronizing their church members by telling them what they want to hear, instead telling them what they need to hear. And then we see prominent critics of President Obama like Sean Hannity, Bill O'Reilly, Laura Ingraham, Megyn Kelly, all good Christian people, never even hint how the devil could possibly be controlling President Obama. Although Judge Jeannie comes the closest, God bless her. All ministers agree that it's very possible, yet they all back off when it comes to President Obama. I wish they'd quote me, because I can back it up. Our pastors are being hog-tied from speaking out against wrongful government conduct. The First Amendment has created a wall of separation between the church and the state, but that wall was intended to keep the government from running the church, like the government once did in England. Our founders wanted the right to worship under any Christian denomination of their choice. Their intent was perverted by the devil. I'm sure you recall my telling you, Ardith, how God was guiding me with writing my books. And you'd say, oh, why would God use you? You don't even go to church, and when you do, you fall asleep. But Christ was a murderer. Who was Paul? He was a corrupt tax collector. Who was Matthew? He was a zealot. Who was Peter? He was a prostitute. Who was Mary? So why not me? Christ said that they all needed his help, and so do I. And so do you, Ardith. Big time. We all need Christ's help. Maybe our daughters probably thought I was being egotistical or narcissistic when I'd say God was guiding me in writing my books. But I was simply stating a fact, and everything I ever said did happen. There's your proof, Ardith. And I have at least 23 examples of accurate prediction, and she was never wrong. This is very compelling evidence. If we're going to brag on anyone, then let's brag and glorify Christ. We're in a spiritual battle with the devil, Ardith, and he is hell-bent on lying and misleading people, and misled you and our daughters, and was able to divide our family. That's his modus operandi. He's got thousands of years' experience. He's a liar, divider, and destroyer, amongst other things. Ardith, you claimed you put Christ first, but do you really believe that Christ could tell you to leave your husband and put your daughters first, especially after you reaffirmed your marriage vows at that quaint little church in Elizabeth, Illinois, then blatantly violated them? There was no womanizing, physical, mental cruelty, drugs, alcohol on my part, and I was more than generous to all of you. As for your so-called Christian counselor, James Utek in Ensenada, he hung on to you as a client, refused to suggest that you need marriage counseling when I criticized him for it. After paying for 5 of his worthless counseling sessions, he dropped you as a client because he knew that he would no longer be paid. Yes, Ardith, they were worthless. You needed marriage counseling, which he could not provide without both of us participating. And that's a fact. The California Board of Psychology suggested that you file a complaint against Dr. James Utek because he was exploiting you. Do you know that? It was all about money and greed. You think going to church every Sunday and reading your Bible every morning is going to make you okay with Christ? Come on, Ardith, get real. I guess I should have put Christ first like you claim you did, because people can sure let you down, can't they? It's all over. It's over 7 years, and I'm still trying to save you and our daughters, and I have not been with any other woman except in public places. Dr. John Phillips, internationally renowned Christian, author of more than 50 books, and teacher at the Moody Bible Institute for 25 years, truly a minister's minister, said, "Our enemies are not people. We must see beyond people. Satan may use people to persecute us, lie to us, cheat us, hurt us, or even kill us. But our real enemy, meaning the devil, lurks in the shadows of the unseen world, moving people as pawns on the chessboard of time." He said, as long as we see people as enemies and wrestle with them, we will spend our strength in vain. You and our daughters may not understand this, but my argument is not with you, Ardith, or my daughters, or our churches, or the black people, or your so-called Christian marriage counsel in Ensenada, or Reverend Eric Flood and his staff at South Park Church, but it's with the devil. I will always love you and my family. This is unconditional agape love. Please understand, I'm not looking for any apology from you or my daughters, not at all. But hope you strongly condemn the devil in the strongest possible terms. Renounce what all of you have done was wrong. You should tell the devil to go to hell where he belongs. And join with me in exposing the devil. If you do this, you will become winners. If not, you become major, big-time losers and victims of the devil. You'll be viewed by those who do not understand the ways of the devil as being a no-good woman with bad daughters who did not appreciate what they had in a devoted and faithful husband and father. I can't put it more candidly and plainly, Ardith. Don't take my word for it. Send this letter to the California Board of Psychology in Sacramento for an unbiased professional opinion. Better yet, contact Dr. David Jeremiah. Make an appointment with him. His phone number is 619-440-1802. He is a short distance from you, Ardith, and that's not coincidental. Dr. Jeremiah happens to be one of my mentors, and by the way, so is Reverend Bill Hybels. I believe this letter can help a lot of other families and needs to be seen by everyone. Our tragedy has become a blessing to millions of other families because it sends a great message on how the devil works. Do you realize this? For your sake, I hope you do. Maybe President Obama will listen to this video on YouTube. Maybe it'll save him. We will see. We've experienced a very unique and unusual life, Ardith. I believe we were chosen for this special mission, whether you accept it or not, chosen by God. My books provide two completely different stories under one cover. The first message is quite supernatural. The second message would make a great motion picture of how attorney George McCandless took on the AMA and a dozen other medical organizations and individuals and won a major landmark David and Goliath antitrust courtroom battle. The courtroom drama would pale any John Grisham novel by comparison. Mr. McCandless represents many of the biggest corporations in America. So why would he take on 5 ragtag clients like us, not even know if he's going to get paid? It's because his dad was a chiropractor and suffered the agony of being wrongly attacked by the medical profession. He saw how people were suffering and dying needlessly who could have been helped through chiropractic care. His dad was denied membership to the local golf club because he was a chiropractor. In another case, his dad would make a house call at 1 o'clock in the morning, and not because he was so busy, but because the patient did not want his neighbor to see he was being treated by a chiropractor. So when an internal document surfaced from within the secret files of the AMA indicating how the AMA was working covertly to destroy chiropractic with lies, George could visualize his dad telling him that since he put him through college to become a lawyer, that he must come to the aid of chiropractic and its patients. And since George was given this incredible God-given talent and ability, it became his responsibility. It was a noble cause, and he performed heroically. I hope Hollywood is listening. My book, which gives the history of this lawsuit, is entitled Medicine, Monopolies, and Malice. Amazon should have copies, and if not, I have extra copies. Here is the actual book. Now here are my other two books. The Devil's Intervention into Healthcare, Politics, Church, Courts, Families, and the Case for Christ and Against the Devil. If my books become bestsellers, I will set up a trust fund so that a portion of the proceeds from these books will go toward non-profit, charitable, Christian organizations. I will also see to it that a portion of the proceeds will go toward my only granddaughter Emily's college fund. Thank you for watching. Both books are available for Amazon and paperback as well as on Kindle as ebooks. And please pass this video on and tell others about it on YouTube. The title of this video is Chet's Letter to Ardith in Summary. My other video is entitled The Devil is Influencing President Obama.